Well, joining me right now from the side of tonight's big debate, Communications Director Sean Spicer. Welcome back, Sean. It's good to see you.
Good to see you.
All right. It's been a tough week for him. Before we get to the whole tax controversy, and, look, I am sympathetic and I understand his viewpoint that, look, why would you pay any more tax than you have to? I get that. But let's just talk about some of these debate poll numbers we've been seeing, Sean. In a brand new CNN national poll, Clinton is ahead of Trump by 5 points, 47 to 42. This is in a four-way race. Same story, Sean, when it comes to critical swing states. Mrs. Clinton's leading in Florida, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Donald Trump is only leading in Ohio. So, look, he's been down before. We have seen that. Is he listening to folks like yourself? Is he listening to his advisors right now that are telling him, look, you got to do a better job Sunday night and you got to start turning this thing around?
Well, Donald Trump's gotten to where he is today because he follows his gut. He knows where the heart of the electorate is, and I think he's going to continue that. Of course, people are offering him advice and opportunities, telling him where opportunities exist, that we could probably go after her a little bit more, or contrast his record and hers. He knows what's at stake, and he's very well aware of it. Our job between now and the next 35 days is to really draw that contrast, both in terms of accomplishment, and I think you're going to see that tonight here in Farmville between Tim Kaine and Mike Pence, but also in philosophy. I mean, they are the status quo team. They are the establishment. They are business as usual. They are pay to play. Donald Trump and Mike Pence are the agents of change. And if you're ready to change Washington and mix things up and stop settling for a bunch of excuses, I think they're your guys.
And yet, Sean, I talk to a lot of people that say, look, I love Donald Trump's policies. I think he's spot on when it comes to national security. I think he's spot on when it comes to the economy, lower taxes, getting, sort of the lobbying money out of Washington. And yet, they're not convinced that he can deliver, and it's simply, Sean, because of his poor performance last Monday night. I mean, there's a lot, obviously on tonight with the VP debate, but there's a lot on Donald Trump, is there not, to really start to change things and reemerge on Sunday?
Well, look, tonight I think is going to be important. I think Mike Pence will really do a phenomenal job of setting that contrast. And then, as you mentioned, we got 2 more debates. But, I think debates are important. There's no question about it, especially in this election where people are clearly waiting a little bit longer to make that decision. It's going to be a neck-and-neck race to the finish. So, I look forward to him drawing that distinction in the next debate. But when you actually look back through history, John Kerry crushed George W. Bush all 3 times, and George Bush prevailed. I think it's so much less about debates, but he's got to continue in other ways, and he's been out there throughout the country at rallies talking to folks and talking about that message of change.
Right. You want him back on the offensive, too. I mean,
right.
Someone was earlier in the day making the contrast between Hillary and big business and Donald Trump, and they were sort of saying, look, this is sort of fallen in her lap, whether it be Wells Fargo, whether it be Mylan, these companies that are kind of getting away with things they shouldn't be getting away with. And yet at the same time, you got to look at that and say, wait a second, Wells Fargo is backed by none other than Warren Buffett, who's her backer. And then you've got Mylan, which did a deal, Sean, with the U.S. government, thanks to all the lobbying money they spent, in which they got their EpiPens into every single school in America. And what do you know? They raised the price right after. So that is an example of corporate cronyism. She's trying to use that to her advantage. Does he need to use it to his?
Yeah, and you listen to Deutsche Bank as well. I mean, they got millions of dollars in speaking fees from Deutsche Bank, and look what's going on with that. So I think you can see over and over again this crony capitalism, the pay-per-play stuff with their relationship between the State Department and the Clinton Foundation. There's no question that they have this history, because it's not just 1 or 2 scandals. I mean, since they came to Washington in 1992, it's been one scandal after another. Travelgate, this gate, that gate, nanny. I mean, one after another. The Clintons are, and that's what you're going to get in the White House. If Hillary Clinton
should be
wins,
easy to beat.
Well, look, I mean, I think we have a very polarized electorate, and you're right, though. We have the advantage, though, of having to make the case at the end where more people have written her off and are willing to listen to Donald Trump and Mike Pence. That's, again, what I think he's going to focus on today. Mike Pence is going to talk about serious issues and serious solutions tonight, and I think that's going to be in contrast. Tim Kaine's job is to come here tonight and sort of be a rhetorical attack dog, just throw one-liners out there. But I think when you actually start comparing the record as governor, just between the vice presidents, Mike Pence, when he as governor of Indiana, unemployment down. And I think the taxes are down. In Virginia, when Tim Kaine was governor, taxes went up, unemployment went up.
Okay, so we're gonna look forward to some policy tonight, some real substantial policy discussions. Yes.
Well, I can tell you that from Mike Pence's standpoint, yeah.
Okay.
I don't think that Tim Kaine's going to be coming talking about policy, because that's not their job. They don't want to talk about policy because all they're going to do is defend the stale status quo.
And by the way, I got one for you, Sean. You know, Tim Kaine, he has been a big defender of the banks. In fact, just a couple days before he was put on the ticket, he wrote a big letter in defense of the banks to Congress, basically asking them to not have to keep so much money on hand in case there's a rainy day. So there's something there. Anyway, Sean, always a pleasure, sir. Thank you so much. Good to see you.